Since 1941, this iconic base in the northeast corner of the Las Vegas Valley has been synonymous with lethality and air power, with a rich history that began with training pilots during World War II in the immediate aftermath of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Today, Nellis Air Force Base plays a vital role in the Department of Defense mission to achieve peace through strength, hosting a variety of air combat exercises including Red Flag and Green Flag West. In a tradition dating back to 1997, day one of the Aviation Nation Air Show starts right now. Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome in, everybody. Dan Hawkins alongside Senior Master Sergeant Caitlin Jones-Martin from the Air Force Public Affairs team. We are so excited to be here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada for day one of this air show. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It is. Good morning, Dan. Good morning to everyone. The crowd is starting to roll in here at Aviation Nation, and we are just thrilled to be here at the home of the fighter pilot and celebrating 50 years of Red Flag here at Nellis Air Force Base. Now, it is a little breezy, chilly.
A little.
But we hope that you'll come out. We hope that you'll experience everything that we have to offer here at Aviation Nation.
This year's theme is Heroes in Aviation, and this weekend we'll honor a celebration of courage, innovation, and the indomitable spirit of flight. Nellis Air Force Base, named after Lieutenant William Nellis, a Nevada native and World War II aviator who was shot down 3 times over Europe. And to honor his ultimate sacrifice, the base was named Nellis Air Force Base back in 1950. Of course, the Air Force has many other heroes of aviation, including the legendary test pilot General Chuck Yeager, who broke the sound barrier just down the road at Edwards Air Force Base in California. Later on in the show, we'll be joined by the family of another ace, General Robin Olds, the father of the modern-day air show and the inspiration behind Mustache March. I can't wait for that one. And even a former 57th Wing Commander, General Janie Leavitt, who just retired in 2023.
So many heroes in aviation that we're celebrating here at Aviation Nation 2025 this weekend, and just so many cool things that you're going to see. Even we have some historic aircraft out here. So you're talking about some of our Air Force aces and our heroes of aviation. We've got some of those historic Warbirds that are here on the ground and will take to the skies later on in the show. So we hope that you'll come out, but if you don't make it out here today, you can always tune in to the show right here. Get a front row seat to all the action. We're streaming live on the Nellis Air Force Base Facebook page. We're also on airforce.com, on the Defense Visual Information Distribution Service. And a really cool thing this year, we are streaming on all the Las Vegas local news apps.
That's really cool. And before we get into the good stuff, though, there's some air show do's and don'ts.
Absolutely. If you're planning to stop by and check out the action this weekend, Team Nellis is proud and happy to have you as our guest. And there is an amazing group of airmen and civilians working hard to make your visit safe and enjoyable. With that, we know many of you are planning to visit. So please pack your patience.
A little bit.
Along with the sunscreen, the hearing protection, the sunglasses. The team here is making every effort to minimize delays entering and leaving the show.
And obviously, and you might have noticed, this is a military base, so base officials do ask for your cooperation if you're coming out. Leave the dangerous items off the base. All visitors' bags will be quickly inspected, and all individuals are subject to search prior to entering the base and the air show gates.
The following list of prohibited and permitted items will ensure you have a hassle-free and safe experience at the air show. So now let's get to the action, right? On the ground and in the skies here in Nevada, scheduled to appear over the weekend. You got the F-22 demo team. We've got the P-51 Mustang, like I mentioned, the F-18 TAC demo Rhino team, and of course, the Las Vegas hometown faves, the Air Force's premier aerial demonstration team, the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds, and many more aerial and ground displays. We call them static ground displays, but really what it means is you just get to get up close and personal with some of these amazing jets, to include the A-10 Warthog, an MQ-9 Reaper, an F-15 Eagle. We've got a local news chopper. We've got local and state police that are out here with with some cool vehicles. So much to experience here at Aviation Nation.
So bring the kids, because in addition to those fantastic displays and everything out on the flight line, Aviation Nation also brings you STEM City, an exciting display of hands-on booths to encourage children, educate parents on opportunities, in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and math. So a lot to get to today, and we're going to jump right in here, Caitlin. For those that don't know, the 57th Wing here at Nellis, part of Air Combat Command, is responsible for 3 groups, including the U.S. Air Force Weapons School with 36 squadrons at 12 installations, really the Air Force's most diverse flying wing, flying and maintaining more than 182 aircraft. Additionally, the wing oversees the U.S. Air Force Advanced Maintenance and Munitions Operations School, the U.S. Air Force Aggressors. I cannot wait to see some of them fly today. And, of course, America's ambassadors in blue. You know them.
You love them.
The Thunderbirds.
It is now our pleasure to introduce the command team for the 57th Wing. Joining us is the commander, Brigadier General Lawrence Sullivan, call sign Gordo. He's a command pilot with over 2,300 flight hours in nearly 24 aircraft. And always by his side, the command chief for the 57th Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Jason Trickey. Welcome into the show, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
We know you're so busy on day one of an air show, so thank you so much for dropping in. But I really want to open up, sir, with you and to talk about the 57th Wing and why the mission matters, not only for the Air Force, but the Department of Defense.
Yeah, you bet. We're excited to have the base open up to the community and have a bunch of our friends here to see what we do. Here at Nellis, every single day, year-round, 7 days a week, we're doing flying training missions and teaching people how to be better at combat. And so it's always happening behind the scenes, but we get people out here on the runways today and on the taxiways, and you'll see the jets take off. And we'll do it close and over the base today so you see some of what the aircraft can do.
This year's theme is Heroes in Aviation, so I'm just kind of curious. You know, we talked about some of the heroes in aviation. Sir, what would be a hero that you look up to?
It's actually every single airman on this base. We get the full spectrum of people. We get old guys like me and Chief up here, and then all the way to the other end, a lot of first-term assignment, assignment people here working it. And so if you look at the aircraft here today, it takes a lot of maintenance just for every single flight hour that we do, and most of our maintainers are on the younger side of that spectrum. And so people from all around the country that raise their hands say, I want to serve the country. They join the military, they come here, they become experts in working on these extremely complex airplanes, and they keep them in the air.
Absolutely. Only 0.4% of the American population is currently serving, and such a big part of the mission of the DoD is right here at Nellis Air Force Base. Chiu, with your background in air traffic control, talking about these heroes in aviation, kind of tell us how you got to be where you are, Chief.
No, I appreciate that. Thanks again for having us, Dana Senior. So, 1999, held down the fort with, I was going to college, 17 units, paying myself through. I had 4 part-time jobs, and I was playing soccer on 3 different teams, and it just became a bit much. And I realized that post-college, I didn't really have a plan either. And so I wanted to really, be able to learn a trade, something that maybe I could apply if the Air Force wasn't for me. And so came in, and my 6-year plan turned into a 25-year plan, and I'm still just really enjoying it today. And so being a part of 57th Wing and just the amazing things that we do for war fighters across the globe is just a real honor to be able to be here. So thank you.
It's funny how the 4- and 6-year plan becomes the 20-year plan just overnight, how quickly that actually happens. Sir, your background obviously as an F-16 pilot. You've flown a lot of different aircraft. We're going to see the F-16, probably your favorite, fly later today, of course, with the Thunderbirds. But what inspired you to go to the Air Force Academy and become a pilot?
Yeah, you bet. I had friends and family and relatives. They were really proud of that. Respected them a lot, and I wanted to do it. There was a cool factor to that as well. The Air Force Academy is at a beautiful location, and it's a good education and a scholarship. So there's a lot of benefits that go along with that, and trade-offs as well. And then jumping into service, planes is a lot of fun, actually, but you realize it's a lot of work too. And then quality of people that you get to work with. And one of the best parts about Nellis here on the Thunderbirds, in the aggressors, and the weapons school, and our maintenance leadership, and all the schools that we have here, this is the premier training location we have in the Air Force, and I'd say the DoD. And we get a chance to hire the very best people that to come back here and be instructors. And so, yeah, the airplanes are cool, but it's the teammates like Chief here and everybody else in the base that's inspired to serve. And so hopefully what you'll see visiting the base here for the air show this weekend is a professional person squared away with a smile on their face, helping you get through the front gate and then helping you navigate the entire show. And then you'll see that in the air demonstrated as well.
Absolutely. You know, Nellis, the home of the fighter pilot. I love that. Such a unique mission that you have here, and really one of the more unique locations. The installation has been here for several decades, but Vegas has changed a lot in recent years. Can you kind of speak to the partnership and the friendship that Nellis has with its local community?
You bet. We're fortunate to be here at this location. The community's been amazing for us. They are great teammates. They're incredibly generous and welcoming, and so especially as the leadership team for the base, we've got the good fortune of interacting with some of the resort leadership downtown, the sports teams leadership, the political civic leadership, the school district, and everywhere across the community. Those people are awesome. They become personal friends of ours. It's fun to hang out with them, on a one-on-one basis. But more importantly, they're totally invested in helping the airmen here. So like I said, a lot of our force, it's their first time away from home, potentially after high school graduation. They're assigned here with their families. People get told they're coming to Vegas as an assignment, and then this is their home, for 2 or 3 years. Chief and I have had the good fortune of coming back through bases a number of times. This is our second assignment for my family here, where we're really excited to come back. And so the airmen at this base are part of the community while they're here, and it's really cool to have a chance to open up the gates and bring everybody else on to show off of what we're able to do here at the base.
It's a big milestone year here, though, for Red Flag, and that is a monster event that prepares combat aviators to be the best in the world. Can you talk a little bit about the significance of Red Flag and even the significance of 50 years doing anything?
Yeah, you bet. So the way to think about Nellis is you said 180 or so aircraft, a bunch of training schools. We don't deploy people overseas from here. What we do is we train them up to top them off. And so maybe a good analogy is here in Vegas, there's a lot of boxing fights and like UFC fights, stuff like that. If there's a fighter, they got to stay in like decent shape, year round. But if they got a big fight coming up, they'll enter a training camp at the end to kind of surge their skill set. And so a lot of the units are training around the world, our partners and our allies and our Air Force units and Navy and Marine Corps units. And then what they do is they come here right before they deploy to combat. And this is the training camp that really gets them topped off and tuned up. So we've got the best sparring partners here. That's the aggressors. So they professionally replicate our potential adversaries and at a very high level of accuracy. We've got a great gym here. I mean, this facility is amazing. We've got the biggest bomb dump in the Air Force, so they come here and use live weapons. And then they go up into our training range, which has a replication of enemy air defenses and a bunch of live weapons impact areas. So, and then they all get to train together, too. So a lot of units are at their home station kind of by themselves. And then Red Flag, that was started 50 years ago to bring everybody together, train together in a very complex environment against professional adversaries using live weapons to make it look as close as it can to combat. And so this training camp is the last tune-up and a combat replicator. And what we know today is, on average, we've got about 60 to 70,000 airmen deployed around the world, like right now. That's out of a service of about 300,000, so it's a pretty good fraction of our force. There's combat ops happening in the Middle East, like just today. And those units that are dropping those bombs and employing those weapons and fighting those missions, they were at Nellis a couple of months ago, getting their tune-up. And so it's a big task. We take it very, very seriously, and there's a lot of pride in that we set the environment to give them the best possible training in the last few weeks that we have them before we send them off to the big fight.
Absolutely. And, the face really of Nellis and the Air Force in general is that fighter pilot, are those pilots. But, Chief, I just want to hear from you and I on the enlisted side of the house, what kind of effort goes in to making all of these 50 years of Red Flag? What is kind of the enlisted lift for an exercise of that nature?
Yeah, I'll tell you, thank you for that question. So over 4,000 airmen in the 57th Wing, and then the vast majority of them are enlisted, right? And so every single day, it's easy to look up in the sky and see just kind of a warrior, a pilot flying in the air, if you will, or an air crew. But every time I see that, I'm just inspired because there's been a Herculean effort on the field to effectively will that aircraft into the sky, if you will. And it's not just our 2,000 plus maintainers, but it's also just partner wings here locally in the 99th Air Base Wing who provide top level support. And really it's just inculcating a spirit, a warrior ethos that it doesn't matter if you're flying that aircraft or you're providing, kind of support at the MPF or whatever the case may be. What you do here matters. And the things that happen here at Nellis can only happen here at Nellis. And it's just, again, as the boss mentioned, a lot of pride in what we do here. So thank you.
Absolutely. And you can see it, you can hear it when we talk to both of you. We want to thank you both for stopping by and sharing your experience and telling us about the 57th Wing. Truly amazing what you all do here at Nellis. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you. Fights on.
Fights on.
All right, that was Brigadier General Gordo Sullivan and Chief Trickey, the command team for the 57th Wing here at Nellis. I mean, home of the fighter pilot, great leadership. You just get that vibe like we are at the home of the fighter pilot.
Yeah, it's kind of, it makes... I don't know, it makes me a little bit nervous almost, this is just such a historical base. So many great things go into making a fighter pilot. And then not to mention the Thunderbirds right behind us. It's crazy to think about everything that goes into Nellis Air Force Base and what goes into Aviation Nation too, to open this base up. This is an active military installation, so just to open this base up to the public is a big lift in and of itself.
It really is. You see the Thunderbirds sitting directly behind us. We literally, it doesn't get much more front row than this. Bob Euchre would be proud of our front row seats here for the Thunderbirds. Of course, they'll take off around 3:30 local time or so. Of course, the ground show inspired by Disney on the front end of that. You see some of the crowds here rolling in here on a gorgeous Saturday. I guess thank goodness for a little breeze, right? It'll be a little warm out there in the sun.
And closer to showtime. And we have been told that because of these high winds, because of the breezy condition, the Misty Blues skydiving team, the all-women skydiving team, is not going to be able to jump today, but we are still going to have opening ceremonies. There's going to be a streamer drop. We're going to have a national anthem. And then it's just going to go right into the aerial displays after that.
Yeah, what are you most looking forward to see as you see a C-130 there at the end of the strip here in Las Vegas? The skyline in the background, that's super cool.
It is so cool. This is really just a great spot as well, and you can notice that the shot is shaky because of the breeze out here. So it is a little windy, but most of our acts are planning to go ahead and fly today. And of course, tomorrow as well, you can come out and see Aviation Nation. This is not just a one-day thing. This is 2 days. So if you can't make it out today, but you're watching the show and you're thinking, man, that looks so cool, please come out tomorrow and join us here at Nellis Air Force Base. We've got a jam-packed show. I think my favorites, I don't think I'm allowed to say anything other than the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. I am married to a former Thunderbird, so I got to go with the hometown team always. What about you, Dan?
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. You're nothing if not predictable, but it's not flying, but I would love to see the A-10 demo again. I saw it a couple years ago, and it was so fabulous. But we're also going to see the newest refueler in the Air Force inventory. Not as fast, maybe not as super cool, but so important to the Air Force mission, the KC-46 Pegasus. I love watching those big birds fly, too.
Absolutely, and just such a unique capability, too, with the KC-46 in-air refueling. Think about it like a flying gas station. So here our fighter pilots will just pull up to that KC-46 in mid-air to top off on gas. Truly one of the most unique capabilities of the U.S. Air Force.
And there's going to be a lot to see and do here, so if you're bringing the kids, bring them out. It's cashless. We should mention that. We didn't mention it, so no chips allowed from downtown, no cash. Got to have a credit card.
Absolutely. And you can bring a reusable water bottle in. They have water stations throughout the show. Just make sure it's empty when you come through the gates and they're checking off all your stuff and taking a look. And we're actually going to have an airman on the street, if you will. Senior Airman Jada Mailer is going to be roaming around the ramp and showing us up close and personal all the cool things there are to see. They've got food here. They've got drinks. Souvenirs. Anything and everything that you could need or want is right here at Aviation Nation.
Yeah. Caitlin yesterday was walking up and down the ramp looking for some mugs here for the table, but we got them.
We did. Our Nellis Air Force Base mugs. And it's so much cool stuff that I saw. I'm glad I was able to take a walk because they've got a historic Wright Flyer here. So we talk about the Warbirds, but it goes all the way back. Historic Wright Flyer. You can actually sit in it, which is really cool. There is a huge expanse of space here and stuff to see in every single corner as we watch the takeoff of our opening ceremonies bird right there. And they do have a tram that runs from one end of the air show to the other. So if you're tired of walking, you got little kids, you can catch that tram and make mobility a little bit easier.
Gorgeous sight as a C-130 takes to the skies here in Nevada. The air show about ready to kick off opening ceremonies. Of course, General Sullivan and Chief Trickey probably had to hustle over.
They did. They're offering opening ceremony remarks, so I'm glad we got them when we did. Dan, how many times have you taken a ride on a bird like that?
A couple. I've actually jumped out of that thing a couple times, too. Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, that's why I got old man knees, though. That's,
Definitely. It is a cool ride and so much cool stuff that you're going to see here at Aviation Nation 2025 as we get ready to kick off for showtime. A jam-packed schedule all day long. You've got Red Bull Air Force. You've got the Commemorative Air Force, which is basically a flying museum, if you will. So many things to see. And then, of course, the show will end this afternoon with an hour and 15-minute show with the U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds. Just incredible every time I see it.
I know you just like the music.
The music is my favorite part. Music is my favorite part. I love it when the Thunderbirds take over the playlist there.
As you get another crew, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the 2nd Audiovisual Squadron out of Hill, bringing you the great pictures all day long. You're seeing it right here, but they are going to be on the cameras for 2 entire days.
Yeah, and it truly gives you a front row seat, right? I mean, you're going to experience it. If you come out here to Aviation Nation, you're going to feel it in your gut. You feel it in your bones when some of these aircraft pass by and take off. But truly, there isn't a better seat in the house than watching this show put on by the amazing 2nd Audiovisual Squadron out of Hill Air Force Base, Utah. So big thanks to them. They have got airmen up and down this ramp all over Nellis Air Force Base, bringing you these absolutely incredible pictures from Aviation Nation.
Readiness and lethality on full display. You know, we do air shows a lot of times to not only show the lethality and readiness of the Air Force, but also to inspire the next generation. So just want to give a shout out. If you're looking for more information because you're dialed in here on the Air Show and you want to learn more about the Air Force, go to airforce.com. So much good information about the Air Force.
Absolutely. You know, we talked with General Sullivan and Chief about just 0.4% of the American population currently serving in the armed forces. So all that information available out there on airforce.com. A great place to start. Even if you're just kind of like, man, what does the Air Force do? What could I do if I joined the Air Force? And as the C-130 flies overhead right now here at Show Center, what a beautiful sight.
Looks like the tail flash of his DM, your old stomping ground.
Hey, Davis Monthan out of Tucson, Arizona. Another Air Combat Command installation. I love it down there. Another desert installation. So love that picture right there. If you're wondering how you can also get a free ride on a C-130, go to airforce.com. because we'll send you a lot of cool places on one of those birds.
And a lot of people may not really realize, if you're not familiar with the Air Force or military service, but so many different ways to serve. It's not just full-time, but there's part-time opportunities as well with the Air Force Reserves, the National Guard as well. I mean, so many different ways that you can serve in the Air Force and be a part of everything that you see happening here at Nellis this weekend.
Absolutely. And just any kind of different job that you can imagine. We probably have it in the Air Force. You know, I don't think if you don't have any connection to the military, you maybe don't realize just how many opportunities you can have joining the Air Force. So again, if you're thinking about it, go to airforce.com. We are also streaming live on airforce.com this weekend. So big thanks to Air Force Recruiting Service for hosting us on airforce.com.
Shout out Miriam.
And also Nellis Air Force Base's Facebook page, all those local Las Vegas News Channel apps, as well as we watch the C-130 take its laps right here around Nellis Air Force Base in the opening ceremonies of Aviation Nation 2025.
Gorgeous temperatures, 68 degrees or so right now.
Sure.
I love it. Having a good time. You see the shot from the flight line. We've got cameras all over the place.
We really do. F-22 Raptor right there. You're going to see that demo team later. Man, there is nothing like seeing I know, you know, General Sullivan's F-16 guy. I love the Thunderbirds, but there really is nothing like seeing that 5th generation aircraft take to the skies. It looks like something out of science fiction. It really does.
Truly a multi-role fighter from air-to-air and air-to-ground capabilities in the F-22 as the C-130 still rolling around here. And I'm just taking a look at the ramp. Crowd still rolling in. I mean, it's a process to get on the base. As Caitlin said, you got to pack your patience a little bit. But once you're here, you're going to have a great time. I'm getting hungry. I saw those churros over there. I don't know. I'm getting a little hungry. It's almost lunchtime, as it looks like maybe we're about to have some action out of the C-130 here. We're getting set for the national anthem from what we're being told. And the back end of that C-130 is actually open. That's super cool.
Like Dan said, you know, people jump out of that airplane. So not me, of course, but Dan.
Why would you jump out of a perfectly safe
good airplane?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, really.
It does not. It does not. So we are getting ready to kick off festivities here. Like we mentioned before, Misty Blues not able to jump this morning due to the high winds here in the Vegas Valley, but we're hoping those winds are going to calm down the rest of the weekend. We are expecting tomorrow to be significantly less breezy, so hopefully Misty Blues will be able to jump tomorrow.
Yeah, there's also another day of the show, so luckily that's the case. It's not supposed to be as windy from what I understand tomorrow, so that will be a good thing, at least for anybody jumping out of the back of perfectly safe aircraft.
Absolutely. Misty Blues being an all-woman skydiving team, so that's a cool feature of them. We've got a lot of women aviators out here this weekend as well, so that's definitely interesting, and we love to see everybody that comes out. We have civilian acts that come out. It's not just military, so you're going to see Bill Stein do his air demonstration, which is just... Dan and I were watching it during practice. It's insane.
And I think later today we're actually going to have footage from inside some of these aircraft, including Bill Stein's.
Very cool.
Vicky Benzine is here.
P-51 Plum Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I know that's Dan's favorite, so.
Yeah, the Covington Slayer jet car thing is here. That's cool.
It's very cool. You've got a Red Bull Air Force as well that's going to perform.
I have not seen them perform in a long time, so that'll be pretty cool as well. They do. I don't know. If you watch them on YouTube, they do some pretty crazy stuff.
They do. They do. And all services represented here at Aviation Nation as well. So you can get up close and personal. The U.S. Navy is out here. They've got a trailer.
It's a narrator.
All right.
And right now we're going to go to the Air Boss for opening ceremonies.
To the 2025 Aviation Nation Air Show. My name is Luke Carrico. I am from Indianapolis, Indiana. It is my distinct pleasure to serve as your master of ceremonies for the aerial action high above Las Vegas and Clark County on what's turning out to become an impressive Saturday morning. In just a few moments, we are going to see some of the world's greatest aviators as we set the stage, the open sky for one of America's finest aerial events and a show unmatched any place else in the country this weekend. On today's show, we will see the flyby by the HC-130J Combat King II of the 34th Weapons Squadron. We'll see aerobatic performers Kirby Chambliss, Bill Stein, Stephen Covington, and the Undaunted Air Show's team as they each fly with their own unique brand of aerobatic flight. We'll witness Jerry Conley, the de Havilland Vampire, Vicky Benzing in the P-51 Mustang, and the combined arms demonstration will take place, highlighting the mission at Nellis Air Force Base. We'll witness airpower with the KC-46 Pegasus, the FA-18 Super Hornet from the U.S. Navy, the F-22 Raptor demonstration team, the U.S. Air Force Heritage Flight, and of course you won't want to miss the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. We're going to have a great day as we take flight and celebrate our freedoms to aviate. Let's get ready. The 2025 Aviation Nation Air Show begins. Let's fly! And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you are within the sound of my voice and are able, if you would, please stand, remove your caps, and come to attention as we welcome Airman First Class Nina Pacheco in the singing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a big round of applause for Airman First Class Nina Pacheco and that beautiful rendition of our national anthem. And a big thank you as well to the crew of the HC-130J Combat King II, 34th Weapons Squadron based here at Nellis Air Force Base. The aircraft platform and the tail that we are seeing today joining us from Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Arizona. The HC-130J Combat King II is the Air Force's only dedicated fixed-winged personnel recovery platform. It specializes in tactical profiles and austere environment conditions, including that of helicopter air-to-air refueling for the mission of combat search and rescue. It's one of the Air Force's newest variants of the mighty Hercules platform and is among one of the longest implementations that the C-130 of any cargo transport aircraft in history, with the production line still going strong to this day. The pilots flying for you today are that of Major Jonathan Kodiak Ford and Captain Kevin Raid Rivera. The Combat Systems Officer is Captain Joshua Knife Mannix, and the Loadmaster on board is Technical Sergeant Josh Trapp Nothi. as our HC-130 Combat King 2 aircraft recovers, our airhill action begins as we kick off this nearly 5-hour flying display featuring some of the world's finest aerobatic aviators and, of course, members of our United States military. In just a couple of moments, we're going to be welcoming to our show that of Undaunted Air Shows. They consist that of two gentlemen. Their names are Stephen Christopher and Todd Rudberg, and together they make that of the Undaunted Air Shows team. They are flying for us what are known as experimental Vans RV aircraft. No, they don't stand for recreational vehicle, but rather for Richard Vans Groosman, a guy who designed the initial RV-1 aircraft back during the mid-1960s. Today, they have become some of the most popular home-built experimental aircraft in the world, with over 11,000 built. We'll tell you more about that here in just a couple of moments. As we have a couple of moments and we get the HC-130J clear of our runway, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about our aerial stage. Here this weekend at Nellis Air Force Base, we have our aerobatic box, and it stretches some 12,000 feet long. It's 3,000 feet wide and actually goes all the way up to 16,999 feet. And it is in this giant cube of airspace that our pilots can do what they do best: fly fast, fly aerobatically, and do things on a normal day that will probably get them into a lot of trouble. But it's in this wavered airspace they can do so safely, and it is further encompassed by what is called a temporary flight restriction, or TFR, and it encompasses the 5 nautical mile radius all the way around the center of our aerobatic box, and all of that airspace is controlled by one individual. Her name is Kelly Hudson. She's from right here in Las Vegas, and she is our air boss, our aerial maestro, whose job is to keep the show together and the airplanes apart, and it is always a pleasure to work with Kelly at some of the most prestigious air shows and aviation events. She's even worked Burning Man and the Super Bowl. Taxing out right now to the right, you will see those Vans RV aircraft of the Undaunted Air Show's team. And over the course of the next couple of minutes, we're going to see this performance of formation and opposition aerobatics inspired by the legendary aerobatic teams of the U.S. Navy Blue Angels, the Air Force Thunderbirds, and even the Royal Canadian Forces Snowbirds. This is one of the most high-tempoed air show routines on the circuit. This team was founded just a couple of years ago, back in 2020, when Stephen and Todd were looking to take advantage of a rare break to refine their new aerobatic skills. And what began as a simple formation loop evolved into a complex series of maneuvers, eventually leading to the development of a full air show routine. Today, the Undaunted team, they're known for shredding the box with their high-speed crosses, formation maneuvers, and synchronized aerobatics, and we'll get the chance here today to see the team as they perform to get things started for us here this morning.
Welcome back to Nellis Air Force Base. Good job by the National Anthem singer. So inspiring. That was really cool. So we're glad you could be with us here on day one of this Aviation Nation Air Show. Dan Hawkins, Senior Master Sergeant Caitlin Jones-Martin. We know that Nellis Air Force Base is home to the Thunderbirds. We've talked about that once.
Just a few times.
Or twice, maybe. But this is also where readiness for the high-end fight takes center stage in the form of Red Flag.
Red Flag is one of the Air Force's largest scale exercise and gives America's warfighters a chance to experience multiple air combat missions in a training situation. In 2025, Red Flag is celebrating its 50th year here at Nellis. Here's a quick look behind the fence at one of the world's most intense military exercises.
Content entry completed. Roger.
Red flag, the 50th anniversary. Such a cool look at one of the world's most intense military exercises. So thank you so much for showing us that, Dan. Absolutely incredible. Something that happens right here at Nellis Air Force Base.
Speaking of something else that happens here at Nellis Air Force Base, those planes right behind us, the Thunderbirds, you'd probably see them in the skies if you're a Las Vegas local all the time, but you may not know any of the Thunderbirds. Let's learn a little bit more about some of your favorite hometown Thunderbirds.
I'm Technical Sergeant Paige Mitchell. I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm a crew chief on the Thunderbirds.
Growing up, my dad was an F-16 pilot, so I grew up, I'm from Las Vegas. I have so many memories of just going out to Nellis Air Force Base. We'd have what's called First Fridays, where the squadron gets together, they barbecue out. So literally at the backside of the squadron, we're staring at the flight line, jets are ripping, taking off, full afterburner. We're just having burgers, we're playing with my friends. That was kind of like core memories for me.
My dad was on the team, and so I'm a legacy Thunderbird. We're the first father-daughter duo that the team's hired, and I'm also the first 35 crew chief, so I grew up going to air shows and spending time with my dad, and just kind of been our thing. I would definitely say the Thunderbirds are deep in Vegas, community and the culture. We may have started at Luke Air Force Base, but we were only there for a few years, and we've been at Nellis and out of Vegas ever since. So even in middle school and high school, I would see the Thunderbirds flying over, so it's just literally all I've known.
I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada. Technically, I was born in Hoboken, New Jersey, but I started preschool all the way up until I left for college in Las Vegas. So I would say I grew up there. My family still lives there, and also my high school friends who I hang out with every chance that I get. So, yeah, Las Vegas is where I call home. I am looking forward to inviting pretty much my whole family and maybe most of southern Las Vegas along with them, because Lord knows my mom is going to invite all her friends and all her, my cousins coming probably from California as well, since it's such a short drive over, but it's going to be a great time. I'm looking forward to it.
I grew up in a military family, so I traveled a lot. By the time I was in 8th grade, I'd lived in 10 different states, so really, truly lived the Air Force military brat lifestyle. To those coming out to Aviation Nation, I want to say thank you to the people of Las Vegas for supporting us. We love being there. We love the city. For those tuning in and coming from afar, I hope you enjoy. The team is happy to be there to show you what we got, and keep your eyes on a swivel, because we'll be out there to bring our A game.
There you have it. Head on a swivel. We're going to be like that all afternoon long. So delighted now to have a few of the Thunderbirds, who is a team comprised of 8 pilots, 4 support officers, and 130 enlisted members from 25 different career fields.
It really is a one-of-a-kind team, a one-of-a-kind show, and one that you'll see live and on air right here at Aviation Nation. Right now, we're pleased to be joined by 2 of the Thunderbirds themselves, 2 of those enlisted members that we talked about. Gentlemen, please introduce yourselves. Tell us where you're from.
Yeah, so I'm Technical Sergeant Cody Coker. I'm from Albany, Georgia originally, and I've been on the Thunderbirds now since September, so about 6 months now I've been on the Thunderbirds.
Yeah, and I am Senior Airman Sebastian Romoak. I'm actually from Riverside, California, and we'll be visiting March Air Force Base, where I grew up, next week. I've been on the team since October, so we're pretty fresh to the team. Still feeling lively, enjoying the show. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for stopping by. Tell us, Tech Sergeant Coker, we'll start with you. Tell us, what is your job on the team? What do you do for the Thunderbirds?
Yeah, so I'm the team's recruiting liaison. So as you know, one of our biggest missions is recruiting with the Thunderbirds. So it's my job to ensure that when we go to these air show sites, that we're engaging with the community. We engage with different schools. We go to high schools. Our pilots do an amazing job of motivating and inspiring
future Air Force members, future aviation career field students that may potentially go and be officers one day as well. So that's what I do, and I also coordinate events with junior ROTCs, Civil Air Patrols, different stuff just to get the Air Force name out there, to get the Thunderbirds name out there, and just inspire and engage with communities, really.
Absolutely. And Senior Airman Romoak, what do you do for the team?
Yeah, so I'm actually a public affairs specialist on the Thunderbirds. I enjoy my time here, and our mission is to recruit, retain, and inspire. And none of that can happen unless we reach out to the public and let the people know the opportunities that are available to them. We do that through our social media. We do that through the air shows. And we're excited to do that here this weekend at Aviation Nation.
Yes. Yeah, public affairs, something that we're real familiar.
I know one or two things about it.
Yeah.
But, you know, hey. So we're so glad that you guys could make time to stop by. But you guys both, your first air show season, how unique is this experience being a part of the Thunderbirds?
It's like no other. I started out my Air Force career as a C-17 crew chief. And I was a flying crew chief as well, so I've been all over the world, 40 different countries. I've been in recruiting since 2017, and being on the Thunderbirds is an opportunity like no other. It's just second to none, I'll say.
Yeah, and we'll go through, we'll start the year going through some grueling weeks of what we call winter training, and that's maybe 2 or 3 takeoffs a day. The whole team is grinding to make sure that we have a successful air show season, right? But when it really hits me is when I had my first air show back in Davis-Monthan not too long ago. I was like, whoa, seeing the crowd's faces, or like, oh, this is why we do it, to really inspire at that air show. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm sure when people see you guys, like, it's very apparent that you're in the Thunderbirds, right? And so you probably get those questions like, oh, which jet do you fly, right? So
all the time.
Yeah. But there really is so many different positions on the team. So just tell us, how do I join? Like, I'm ready to sign up right now. Like, how do I get into the Thunderbirds?
Yeah, so everybody that is a member of the Thunderbirds is first and foremost an airman. So first and foremost, you have to be a member of the Air Force. Once you join the Air Force, this is an opportunity within the Air Force that is opened up to you. We have tactical aircraft maintenance, which is the F-16 crew chiefs. We have basically every maintenance career field that you need to keep an F-16 on the ground, or flying, I'll say. We also have AGE, which is aerospace ground equipment. We have all our public affairs as well. We have personnelists. We have transportation people that are making sure that we get to our show sites, making sure we have hotels. There's a lot of us behind the scenes making sure that this air show actually happens. The actual air show that you see is only a small part of what the Thunderbirds are actually doing.
Yeah, and if I could add a little part, I mean, if you're an airman out there listening to this and you're interested in joining our team, let your leadership know. I did some years in Kadena, right over there in Okinawa, Japan. I let my leadership know, like, hey, this is an opportunity that I'm looking for. Our billets are popping up on what we call Talent Marketplace all the time. And if your leadership is aware of your interest in joining our team, they'll be sure to keep an eye out for those billets, for those opportunities.
Sergeant Coker, I'm really interested in, how exciting is it to kind of be on the forefront where this is obviously an environment where recruiting is a top priority? What are the things that you would like to pass on to somebody who's thinking about joining the Air Force and comes out and sees the Thunderbirds? What's your message?
My message to anybody that wants to come out and see and possibly join the Air Force is to just do it. If you're even thinking about joining the Air Force, just do it. If you want to, if you're like on the fence about it, just do it, because it'll change your life forever for the better. I've been in the Air Force for 15 years now. I joined as a 19-year-old straight out of high school. The Air Force has taken care of me for many years. I've always had a steady paycheck. I've always had a job. I'm not worried about my job security. And I've been able to travel to some really amazing places. The Air Force opens doors. Not only, so one thing we always tell everybody when we're recruiting, when you join the Air Force, you don't have to stay in the Air Force. Use the skills and experience that you receive while you're in the Air Force to go on and do great things in the civilian world. There's nothing wrong with that. There are a lot of people that do 20 years and make a career out of it, which is great as well. But for a person coming straight out of school that just doesn't have any direction, just needs to kind of figure out what they want to do with their life, the Air Force is a great starting point to get your career, get your life on the right track.
Yeah, and there's also opportunities where you don't necessarily have to serve full-time. There's Guard and Reserve opportunities as well.
Yes, sir.
And you can find all that information on airforce.com. So definitely check that out and see all the different opportunities that the Air Force has to offer. You know, we were talking to the 57th Wing Command Chief earlier, and he only planned to stay 4 to 6 years, right? So there's a lot of us, I think, that joined. And we only plan to stay. And I always told people, hey, I'll leave when I stop having fun. And I haven't stopped having fun the whole time, right? So talk to us.
Every day's an adventure.
Yes, absolutely. Talk to us about being on the Thunderbirds and kind of what makes an air show unique. If someone has never been to an air show before, what can they expect from the team today?
Just getting to see the raw power and precision that our F-16s represent. I mean, seeing fighter aircraft in general is just an exciting thing. And I would encourage anybody to come out here and see this show, because our pilots put in a lot of hard work, and you can see that when they're doing the show. I mean, the pride, precision, professionalism that they represent. We've got our diamonds showing off that precision of how close these jets can actually fly together. And then we've got our solos out there showing, you know, all these crazy maneuvers, going super fast and, you know, blazing over the crowd, scaring everybody. You know, everybody after the show, they're like, were you the one up there that was making me poo my pants, basically? So yeah, I mean, it's a show like none other. You won't get this, especially here in Vegas. Any show in Vegas is going to cost you an arm and a leg. It is free to come here and check out these aircraft. It is literally free. You just got to stand in a little bit of a line. But I encourage everybody, if you've never seen an air show, you want to see one in your lifetime, 100%.
And I encourage a lot of the military members, bring out your friends who have never been on a military base. I mean, there's security at every gate on a regular day, and a lot of people have never even seen a flight line. And so this will be the first time in a lot of people's lives. I have some friends who have never been on a military base come in this weekend, and they're super pumped to experience what we're able to provide to the community.
And actually, your comment about shows down in Vegas, of course, we're in Vegas, made me think about the show that our enlisted professionals put on actually before the jets get on the air. The precision, the rivals really anything you might see downtown as well.
Oh, absolutely. And they train so hard to do that, to have it perfect. They work very hard, and when you see them out there, you can tell that they are military professionals. Those guys put a lot of time and dedication into perfecting their craft, and when you see that, it re-blues you, really. It just really reinvigorates that patriotic spirit when you see them out there doing the show. It is a sight to see.
Absolutely. And you still have time to make it out here today to Aviation Nation as well. Parking at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're going to bring you to the base. You're going to stand, like Tech Sergeant Coker said, a little bit of a line, but no price of admission. We are cashless out here, though. So bring your card, your tap to pay, so you can get yourself some good food, some drinks, and settle in, because the Thunderbirds are going to put on a show.
So
I'll be ready for it.
I know you're excited to go to Riverside, but I'm just curious. I know you both perused that 2025 schedule. Where are you guys most excited to go to?
Personally, I'm excited to go back to McGuire Air Force Base. That's where I started my Air Force career, was at McGuire. So I'm excited to go back there and see how it's changed, the different stuff. And plus, I know the crowds out there in New Jersey love a good air show. So it's going to be an amazing sight to see. We've got a great school visit set up there as well that I'll be taking care of. So yeah, I'm excited about McGuire.
Oh, yeah, and like you said, I'm coming back home next week. I am super excited. All my hometown friends, telling them to pull up. We're also going to Canada later on this year, and I've never been, so it should be a good time. Yeah.
You know, you talk about all the travel opportunities that you get with the team and just in the Air Force in general. Kind of talk to us about maybe what are some memorable experiences from your career before you were on the team.
Yes,
please.
So being a flying crew chief on C-17s, I like the Thunderbirds is probably my favorite job I've had in the Air Force. Being a flying crew chief on a C-17 was definitely right up there with it. Because you got to think about it. So C-17, that's a big cargo aircraft the Air Force has. I think a lot of people know. But you always take a crew chief with you anytime you go to an austere location that does not have maintenance. So I got to go to some amazing, like middle of Africa, of course, all over the Middle East, different countries in Europe. I've been to Greece, Italy. I mean, all these crazy places that I've been. And then the Pacific as well. So we'd go to Hawaii, Guam. I've been to China. I've been to Laos. I've been to Japan a lot of times. times. Just that was definitely my favorite experience in the Air Force, getting to travel on the C-17 and making sure it stayed in the air and we were able to accomplish our missions. That was a fulfilling job. I'll definitely say that for sure.
Yeah, and Sergeant Coker mentioned had the Indo-Pacific. Like I had mentioned before, I did 3 years out at Kadena, out in Okinawa, Japan. And one of my fondest memories is just being out there as an A1C, one of my first photo shoots, trying to figure out what's going on. We had a TDY with our partners over there, the Japanese. They were flying the F-22s out there, and we're doing like patch trades on the flight line. And I was trying to piece together a little bit of the Japanese I knew to try to figure it out, taking pictures. And everyone loved those pictures that we took. And it was just the airmen that were on the flight line telling the stories that were there and showing it to the public.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. We know that you're so busy. We know that you have a show to get ready for. So thank you so much for stopping by and chatting with us today.
Thank y'all so much for having us. This was an amazing opportunity.
Mm-hmm. All right. America's ambassadors in blue, the United States Air Force Thunderbirds. They'll come on about 3:30 local time or so.
As the sport aircraft of Undaunted pass behind us. That's pretty cool. They just finished up their act, and so we're going to see some Warbirds take to the skies here in just a few minutes.
I think they were just showing off, talking about all the cool places they've got to go. I mean, I want to be a flying crew chief.
It's kind of what they do.
It is. That's true. That's true. So lots more going on here today at the Aviation Nation Air Show, day one here at Nellis Air Force Base. And we have a big interview coming up. It's not ready yet, but the daughter and granddaughter
of General Robin Olds going to stop by.
That's going to be good. Jennifer Newman and Christina Olds. That is going to be really cool because that's just Air Force royalty as you get a good shot there of Undaunted, one of the two aircraft of the Undaunted team.
Doing like a burnout.
So we're going to go ahead and pitch it out to the Air Boss, and you can learn more about Undaunted.
A British-built aircraft designed and manufactured by the de Havilland Company, the Vampire was built to harness the groundbreaking technology of jet-powered flight. The British aircraft was the first military jet airplane to reach the production lines in 1945, right after the Gloucester Meteor, an aircraft that saw limited action during World War II. But the Royal Air Force utilized the Vampire up through around 1953, where it served in the roles of flight training. In addition to the Royal Air Force and the Royal Navy, the Fleet Air Arm, the Vampire was operated well by over 24 air arms and air forces internationally. As Jerry now continues to climb to our left, he will accelerate up to around 330 miles an hour and set up for his first pass. In this first pass, it'll give you a great look at this distinctive boom-shaped design of the Vampire, something that was very experimental and revolutionary during its time and also proved to be very efficient. And of course, during the war years, building materials were hard to come by. The majority of this aircraft that we're seeing actually built mostly from wood. Inbound now from behind and to the left. Here comes Jerry Conley and that of the Vampire. As I mentioned earlier, the de Havilland Goblin turbojet engine powering this aircraft. This was the first jet built by the British de Havilland Company, and boy, did they get it right. With a top speed of some 550 miles an hour, it was very cutting edge during its time, setting numerous records and world firsts. Due to its development being so close to the end of the war, building materials were increasingly difficult to come by, and even though it's produced mostly of wood, though it was very much a lethal fighter with 4 20-millimeter cannons and a total of 600 rounds, it could carry some 8 air-to-ground rockets or 2 500-pound bombs. The de Havilland Vampire was introduced to the British public in June of 1946, where it was given the honor to lead the flypast over London during the Victory Day celebrations. The Vampire set many firsts and records, and it was the Vampire that was the first jet fighter to reach over 505 miles an hour. It was the Vampire that was the world's first single-engine jet aircraft, and it was the Vampire that became the first jet to successfully cross the Atlantic Ocean. Additionally, it was the first jet aircraft to successfully take off and land from an aircraft carrier at sea. We again look inbound from our left at over 350 miles an hour as Jerry sets up for his next pass. Later variants of the Vampire featured a tandem seat cockpit allowing for a pilot and a weapons instructor, or in the flight training role for an instructor and a student. And depending on whose history book you reference, around 4,000 of these aircraft were produced. And this one, today, the real deal, one of only around 6 or so flying in the United States. Going through the 4-point hesitation roll now as he stops the aircraft every 90-degree angle of bank throughout the full 360-degree rotation. How about a very nice round of applause for Jerry Conley and the 4-point roll. It was the Havilland Vampire that set a world record by British pilot John Cunningham in March of 1948, where it reached a new altitude of some 59,446 feet. You have to consider back then that it was that during its time that 50,000 feet was considered outer space. We're going to watch Jerry Conley again as he repositions to our left for their pass down our flight line, again accelerating through around 330 miles an hour. Be sure to get your cameras ready. Right down on the deck. Of the sub 4,000 Vampires that were produced, about a quarter of them were built under license in other countries. The first jet fighter of the Royal Navy was that of a Sea Vampire, a navalized variant of the type, which operated from aircraft carriers. The Vampire was later developed into the DH-115 dual-seat version, and later the DH-112 Venom ground attack night fighter. This aircraft had great longevity with a number of different operators serving in various air forces, actually all the way up through about the mid-1980s. The Swiss Air Force being the last Vampire operator, retiring their fleet of Vampire FB-6s and T-55s from active service as late as 1990. Jerry is now going to set up for a high-speed pass. Give you another great look at this de Havilland Vampire aircraft as he accelerates from the right just a few feet off the deck, reaching some 480 miles an hour. Its unique shape and that twin tail boom design and pod-like fuselage made the Vampire instantly recognizable from the ground. And when a modified Sea Vampire became a common sight over the English Channel, a chap named Captain Eric Brown actually completed the first successful landing and takeoff of a jet aircraft from an aircraft carrier in 1945. Another great look of that of the de Havilland Vampire. Let's put our hands together, ladies and gentlemen, for Jerry Conley and today's performance. He would like to thank that of Marathon, Norco Aerospace, Gulf Coast Avionics, Wingman Aviation, U Avionics, Acadiana Repair and Powder Coating, and To Pony Pay. You can learn more about Jerry Conley and the Vampires that he flies by visiting him online on his social pages at Vampire Air Shows. Well, as Jerry Conley works his way to his base leg for recovery out there on runway 03, it is so great to see so many of you here joining us on this fabulous Saturday as we celebrate that of Aviation Nation 2025. We want to let you know if you get time today to visit the Inspire Festival located all the way down to Air Show right down on the south end of the field, where there's quite a few different educational displays and things to get up close and with. And we want to make sure that you check that out as we progress throughout our morning and afternoon. We also want to make sure you stay hydrated, you want to stay comfortable, and be sure to check out many of our vendors and exhibitors on site. Many of our concessionaires actually being supported by local nonprofits who are utilizing this weekend as a fundraiser. So you can feel good knowing that your money goes to the local community and supports some great charities and organizations. And I hope you get a chance to check that out. Right now, as we get the de Havilland Vampire, you will see a couple of other vintage military aircraft out there on our runway as they prepare for takeoff, and they are the Warbirds of the SoCal wing of the Commemorative Air Force. We turn back the hands of time with this next performance as we see some of World War II's most prevalent aircraft, including the North American PBJ Mitchell bomber, the North American AT-6 Texan, the Grumman F-6F Hellcat, and the British Supermarine Spitfire Mark 14. The Commemorative Air Force, an all-volunteer organization with over 13,000 members in all 50 states and some 28 foreign countries. It's the world's largest collection of flying vintage military aircraft. In just a moment, we will see this display of some of World War II's most iconic airplanes as they take to the sky. First to take to the air, the North American AT-6 Texan, followed by that of the British Supermarine Spitfire and our two-ship formation element of the PBJ Mitchell Bomber and the Grumman F6F Hellcat. In just a moment, our aircraft are going to work their way around, as it was prior to and just after the U.S.'s entry into World War II. And after the attack on Pearl Harbor, the British Spitfire was holding the line in Europe, the Mediterranean, and in the Pacific. With the Hellcat patrolling overhead, we're going to watch from the left as the Spitfire works its way inbound. And leading our pack today, the North American PBJ-1J Mitchell, as it works to simulate attacking targets in mainland Japan. Having launched off an aircraft carrier, the famous Doolittle raid raised the morale of the home front and sent a message to the Japanese. And while their Air Force brethren and the aircraft of the B-25 Mitchell served in every theater of the war, PBJs, like the one we're seeing today, were used extensively in the South Pacific to attack enemy shipping and air bases. Extremely popular with their crews, PBJs proved rugged, dependable, and lethal. Inbound from the right, the PBJ giving you a look of what the Japanese would have seen on that day of April 18th, 1942, as part of the Doolittle raid as they worked their way inbound from the right. The North American B-25 Mitchell was an American medium bomber that was introduced in 1941, named in honor of Brigadier General William Billy Mitchell, a pioneer of U.S. military aviation. Used by many air forces, the B-25 served in every theater of World War II, and even after the war ended, many remained in service, operating across some 4 decades. Produced in numerous variants, nearly 10,000 B-25s were produced. This was North American aviation's first ever twin-engined bomber. The aircraft that you see today, one of only B-25 rather, PBJ flying in the world in this paint scheme, as they continue to fly the High Combat Air Patrol, the Hellcat. Now scanning the skies for trouble, and with the simulated Zero stood in today with the North American AT-6 Texan hot on the PBJ's tail. He better find some soon. Chasing down our simulated Zero, the Grumman F6F Hellcat, powered by the Pratt & Whitney R2800 Double Wasp 18-cylinder radial engine. It was armed with 6 50 caliber machine guns, each with 400 rounds of ammunition for a total of 2,400 bullets. The Hellcat, a large aircraft weighing in at over 12,000 pounds, fully combat loaded, and yet it had a top speed of some 440 knots. It was introduced to fleet operations in the fall of 1943, and it made a lasting impact, racking up a kill ratio of 19-1. The Hellcat going by now in front of us, the big blue aircraft, earning the reputation as the Zero Killer in the Pacific theater of operations during World War II. With our simulated Zero continuing to engage the PBJ, the Spitfire and the Hellcat are in hot pursuit as the PBJ works its way inbound to continue to attack other targets. This particular PBJ that we're seeing today was completed in March of 1945 and was transferred to the U.S. Navy and underwent a conversion from a B-25 to a PBJ. After serving in the Naval Special Weapons Division on the East Coast, it was struck from inventory in 1947 and was purchased that summer by the St. Louis Flying Service. After going through 12 different owners, it was restored to flying condition in 1981 and purchased by the Commemorative Air Force in 1985. Our Spitfire, built in late 1944, one of only around 1,000 Mark 14s produced. It missed the war in Europe, but ended up in India, ultimately being sold to the Indian Air Force in 1947. It was rescued from Languish in 1977, restored, and she flew again in 1983. Brought to the United States by David Price, this Spitfire was sold to the Commemorative Air Force in 2005. Quite the differences in sound between these radial engines of the PBJ, the T6, and the Hellcat against that of the Rolls-Royce Griffin engine on the Spitfire Mark 14. While our AT-6 Texan stands in today for our simulated Zero, it was the Zero that gained instant fame and fear early on in the war for its incredible maneuverability and long range. It was next to revolutionary when it first encountered Allied fighters who quickly learned that using traditional dogfight tactics against the Zero ended up in a losing fight for the Allies. The Zero was very lightly constructed, which gave it a great turning performance, but later in the war proved to be a disadvantage. The North American Advanced Trainer AT-6, and we are seeing today this one of over 10,000 produced to train our Allied pilots during World War II, and it carries that and the nickname, the Pilot Maker. Our PBJ today being flown by Mike Donut Holes and Roland Fogel, as they now lead this three-ship formation inbound from the right. Take a look from the SoCal wing of the Commemorative Air Force. They are the Warbirds. As they continue to work their way around, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the pilots flying for you here today. The PBJ, flown by Mike Holes and Roland Fogel. Mike got his start in aviation by joining the U.S. Air Force, where he went on to fly A-10 Thunderbolt IIs, racking up an impressive 2,100 hours, and the famed tank killer. In addition to the PBJ, he's also checked out in the Wings Hellcat here with us today, and will soon be flying SoCal's Mitsubishi A6M30 and the Spitfire Mark 14. Today, he flies the friendly skies as a captain for United Airlines and resides in Southern California. He is joined by that of Roland Fogel, has a long-time aviation career, starting as a hobby while working his way up the LAPD chain of command. He retired as a distinguished servant of the community and stays busy herding all of the SoCal pilots around as the unit's operation officer. Our Spitfire today being flown by Jason Solms. He's been in love with aviation his entire life and obtained his pilot's license at a very early age and became a certified mechanic, an A&P. He's also an accomplished RC pilot and has been a successful Reno air racer, the National Championship air races. For his real job, he flies and turns wrenches on corporate Gulfstream jets, and he resides also in Southern California. Our Hellcat today being flown by Rob Lips Hertberg, a former F-16 driver. He got the aviation warbird bug after attending this very air show many years ago. He will soon be flying the Spitfire Mark 14 as part of the organization, and today works as a defense consultant and lives here in Las Vegas, Nevada. As they now work their way to the right, you have noticed a formation change as they have transitioned from the 3-ship Vic formation to the Echelon, or all-to-one-side formation, as they perform this, their final pass and landing. The SoCal wing of the Commemorative Air Force is honored to be part of this iconic air show here at Nellis Air Force Base, based today out of Camarillo, California. CAF SoCal, one of many Commemorative Air Force units across the country. The CAF's mission is to honor American military aviation through flight, exhibition, and remembrance. More than just a collection of airworthy warplanes from the past, the CAF's fleet of historic aircraft, known as the Ghost Squadron, recreate, remind, and reinforce the lessons learned from the defining moments of American military aviation history. To learn more and perhaps join this all-volunteer network of aviation enthusiasts, we encourage you to stop by the CAF SoCal aircraft here in the hot ramp today and speak with the crew. You can also visit CAF SoCal online and on social media at CAF SoCal. As our aircraft prepare to land, please know that we do not fly these aircraft to glorify war, but rather to remember the sacrifices by our veterans and to share their stories. Ladies and gentlemen, in this great salute, please join me in saluting our American heroes, our veterans who have preserved the freedoms that we know of them today. As they now make their landings, how about a very nice round of applause for the pilots, Mike Holes, Roland Fogel, John Inglesby, Rob Herdberg, and Jason Solms, the Southern California wing of the Commemorative Air Force. Always a great sight to see these magnificent Warbirds up in the air where they belong. It's undoubtedly one thing to see a historic military aircraft in a dusty corner of a museum someplace, but yet a totally visceral experience to see one flying in the sky where they belong. Well, as our Warbirds recover, it is now time for more air power action as we turn forward the hands of time and present to you next from our United States Navy the Boeing FA-18 Super Hornet. So here is my question for you, everybody. Are you ready for some noise? Because we're going to be bringing it to you big time here in just a couple of moments from now. From the West Coast, Rhino demonstration team from Strike Fighter Squadron 122, the Flying Eagles, based out of Naval Air Station Lemoore in California. We will see the Super Hornet, commonly referred to by those who fly to the maintainers who maintain it as the Rhino. And it was indeed the F-18 Super Hornet that was featured in the scenes of the recent Top Gun Maverick movie. Performed today by the demonstration pilots and instructors from Strike Fighter Squadron 122, they will demonstrate the full flying capabilities of the FA-18. They are going to set up for their full profile and demonstration today, which features about 15 minutes of high energy, low level afterburning power. Again, showcasing the FA-18's ability to operate in the tactical environment. Our Warbirds working their way in, and they'll be taxiing by in front of you. And as they do so, they will not be able to hear you, particularly with the canopies closed and the engines going, but they will be able to see you. So be sure to wave your hands and hats up high in appreciation for their outstanding Warbird performance for us here today. This year at Aviation Nation 2025, we celebrate heroes in aviation, and we have several as part of our show. We were telling you a little bit about our air boss, Kelly Hudson, who resides from right here. She is actually the United States' first ever certified female air boss, keeping this entire three-dimensional picture happening. Kind of like an air traffic controller, but with a couple of different types of rules and subsets. And I'll tell you, it is a very technical job indeed, and it's always, again, a great pleasure to work with Kelly at air shows around the country. Right now, we stand by as we get ready for today's performance by the FA-18 Super Hornet. On behalf of the United States Navy, Naval Air Station Lemoore, and the commander of Strike Fighter Wing Pacific, and the commanding officer of Strike Fighter Squadron 122, we are proud to present the West Coast FA-18 Super Hornet flight demonstration. Intended to replace the retired F-14 Tomcat and aging Legacy Hornets, the Boeing-built FA-18 Super Hornet is the Navy's frontline tactical aircraft. Known as the Rhino, the Super Hornet builds on a combat-proven design of the original Hornet with improvements such as a 30% larger surface area, larger payload, longer range, and increased weapons lethality. The aircraft performing for you today is the F model, which incorporates a two-seat cockpit to accomplish all phases of the assigned mission. During today's demonstration, Lieutenant Evan Goss, callsign Squints, and Lieutenant Robert Dolan, callsign Mac, will demonstrate the incredible flight characteristics of the Super Hornet. During today's flight, Squints and Mac will experience G-forces from -3 to up to 8 times the force of gravity as they maneuver the aircraft to the edge of the aircraft's operating envelope. Today's show will be performed at speeds as fast as 700 miles an hour and as slow as 100 miles an hour. Many of the maneuvers that you will see here today will demonstrate the aircraft's capabilities in the tactical arena and are employed during combat and training flights. Very shortly, you will hear the raw power of the two General Electric F414 engines producing 44,000 pounds of combined thrust. The Super Hornet is the Navy's frontline tactical aircraft, and in conjunction with other carrier-borne assets, accomplishes the assigned mission to support the air carrier wing and America's interests. To begin today's demonstration, Lieutenant Goss and Lieutenant Dolan will execute a low transition takeoff and reposition to set up for the dirty roll.